everyone, it's Mark here from the Oz DeFi Association and Not Centralized, and I'm in the offices going through the week that was for the 31st of July. So we've got the two newsletters behind me. We're going to start off with the Web3 news first, and then we're going to go through the AI news as well. There was a whole lot of stuff going on in blockchain last week, a whole lot of meetups and events, and you'll see it all here. So one of the things that we did see was the Digital Asset Conference, and that was put on by Blockchain APAC. So shout outs to Steve and Rochelle, who put on a phenomenal event. We started off with a breakfast in Barangaroo. There was also meetups and basically roundtables throughout the day. I was lucky enough to go to the one at the CSIRO over at Redfern, and that was talking about blockchain and AI. And we looked at the regulations, how it's going to be implemented, what is being done in terms of building, and the crossover and convergence of both of those emerging technologies. Then we also went to the next day, which was a whole day event, and that was just a lot of interactive kind of, not just panels where people are spoken to, but there was a lot of audience questions as well. Now, these were people from banking, from the regulators, people building in the space, people flying in from overseas. So shout outs to those folks from Singapore and Hong Kong and New Zealand and the US and the UK that all came over to be with us for this event. So really well done, and that culminated in a great gala and awards dinner. And you can see some of the photos here and in the newsletter that showcased the people that were creating like the most influence and impact in the space, not just now, but also in the future. So it was a really great kind of time. We saw a lot of crazy moves on the dance floor and stuff as well. And it was just such a phenomenal kind of week. So it was really great for us to participate. Great to see our friends and stuff there. And we were really keen to see more of that kind of thing happening in future. Another thing that we had was the Oz DeFi Association events. So you can see behind me here that we have a panel that was on. There was Natasha, Cheng Yi, and Lisa Wade that were interviewed by Arturo, aka Numbers. And so there was a whole lot of these great panels. We had Ross from Ripple, Steve and Rochelle were there as well. Then we also had an investor panel, and that investor panel was folks like David Wills from Primal Capital. There was also Ash from Jelly Sea, and we also had Samar Sen from Talos. So it was really great to get this international flavor going for what was like really a showcase event for us as well at Oz DeFi. So that was on the Wednesday. And then after the awards ceremony that I said happened during the week for the Digital Assets Conference, that was on Thursday night. And I think I got home at like 3 a.m. in the morning, packed, and went to sleep at 3:30 to get to the airport at 7 a.m. on Friday morning so that I could fly off to Perth and help Kat Dunn and the folks at Bamboo, Tracy and Blake, run the Oz DeFi Association event over there in Perth. So we did that over at Space Cubed, and it was just amazing. The Sydney one was over at Stone and Chalk, who've been long-time supporters. Space Cube have just come on board to help us run more and more events over there in the west of Australia. And so it was really great. We had about 40 people, 60 signups, just an amazing crew that was able to join us. And we heard from folks like Phil from Empower. We also heard from Beth from Art6, and it was just great to connect with the folks in the room who came in from all different parts of WA and Perth. It wasn't just within Perth itself. Some folks drove, I think it was like 2 hours just to get to this event. So it shows the interest. I was reminded of what it was like early on running the Oz DeFi Association events with my crew here, and you know what it was like growing from like 10 to 15 to 20 to 40 and where we went to from there. So really exciting stuff going on in Perth. They're going to do another event at the end of August, so watch this space. And then I also got to feature ourselves in the news as well, because Not Centralized was featured in the Australian for the RBA CBDC pilot project that we got to complete with the Digital Finance CRC. We were one of 15 projects that were out there. Our use case was in the construction industry. We showcased the use of digital escrows, which is so much easier to do in the blockchain space, and then also a unique and innovative use case for zero knowledge proofs, so that we can keep transactions, commercial transactions especially, confidential, because right now you can go to any block explorer and just see, once you've had a deal with someone, what their history of transactions have been like on that wallet. So it was really interesting to get that out. HBAR and Hedera were big supporters of us, so you see their community really getting into it. But you know, we had folks like Digital Mutual, ZeroCap, HSF advising us, and great to see the clients that ended up using this. Okay, the end clients, the one that was getting the work done, which was OC Interiors, and also the one doing the work and getting paid as the subcontractor, and that was Trade Collective. Now, as a subcontractor, you, in this use case, you actually get to see that the other side has the funds to pay you. So you don't go out there and get resources and, you've got a contract and you hope you get paid, but we still see, bad things happening and people not getting paid in construction and many other industries as well. So blockchain helps us lower that barrier. It takes away the opacity and it makes sure that, just like we say, verify, don't just trust, you verify. It's the same kind of thing that we can do in terms of payments. So it was really great to get that recognition. We're going to see a whole lot more. We were just talking about it from a high level. We're going to go into the details a little bit more. So over the next couple of days, you're going to see some articles come out in terms of the work that was done. You'll see some more on the specific smart contracts and getting more into the technical kind of stuff. So if you're interested in this, definitely keep an eye out. And then later on, we get into the rest of the news going on around Australia. So we had things like our chapter lead, Leah Deshkina. She wrote an article in My BFF, so you can check that out here. And then we also had something that one of our favorite podcasts out there, the Startup Podcast, Nick Bishop, one of our other chapter leads, had a response to something that they had in terms of speaking with their guests about Web3. So it was a nice kind of back and forth discussion there. We also feature that here, as well as some stuff going on with the folks at Bankless and some of their guests. So really great to be able to put out this news. We're going to go to AI next. All right, now we're over to the AI news, and you can see the newsletter behind me here. It's called AI Chronicles and is on Medium, and it's the DSAI page on Medium. One of the first bits that we had was an article written by one of our co-founders, Paul Conningham. He wrote about model drift. So if you're interested in that, especially as more and more people are using these GPT tools and you're seeing performance differentiation, I mean, there was the whole article on GPT-4 by these Stanford researchers that were looking at GPT-4 and how it had basically changed. It had degraded in terms of the performance, but there's more nuance to that. And so there were a lot of critiques to that particular research paper, mistakes maybe that they had done, or they were only considering such a small kind of sample set, and was it the right kind of tests that they were doing and stuff there. So definitely worth checking that out. You've got the link here. Last week, we mentioned that there was the Web Directions conference on AI, and one of our community members, Lee Schofield, had a really great write-up on LinkedIn that you can see over here, and it went through all of the things that happened in that event from the different panels and speakers. I wasn't able to stay the whole day, but I was lucky enough to moderate one of the panels, but Lee was there, and so she's highlighted a whole lot of that. You can check that out here. And another thing that we highlighted was something from my firm, Not Centralized. There was the AI safety paper, the consultation paper that was put out by government, and people had the opportunity a month basically to submit responses to 20 questions around AI safety, from things like how should AI and generative AI tools be used in, say, different professional areas like healthcare and legal and finance. And so we put in our responses. I'm hoping to see a whole lot more of what people put out there as these things are made public, but you need this kind of public discourse to really make sure that if we're tackling AI risk, that we're doing it in the right way and we're considering the community. And so you see a whole lot of that here. So check that out if you want to read what we were thinking in terms of where AI risk is and just how we propose to tackle that. I'll give you a hint, there is an element of blockchain stuff there too, because we work in that space and we certainly see a crossover, especially in how the auditability kind of aspect goes. And that's to do with how we could use, say, zero knowledge proofs to be able to prove things, especially around sensitive data, but we detail that in the article, so check that out. And rounding things out, we've got AI regulation and policy. So first up, there was what was going on with the White House, with different companies signing up to be part of their AI safety, what they're talking about there in terms of how they're going to make sure that the models that they're building don't go beyond and, you know, creep into the dangerous kind of terminated areas. So we definitely don't want to see Skynet. And then finally, we saw some regulation in terms of what is going on with China's AI policy. So there's a bit of a deep dive here, so worth checking that out. Anyways, that's it for the Emerging Tech Pulse for this week. I'll see you next week for another wrap up of what's going on in AI and Web3. See you soon.